so much. It's great to be here. And I guess being here is what this whole event is about. There's been enough said about myself as a cancer survivor, which I'm very proud to be. And by the way, it's not about being a cancer survivor, it's being a winner. We call cancer winners. So that's the rebounding position. So you should spread that word. Let's come back to the whole concept of being. I belong to the film industry. I belong to the entertainment industry. I live in a world that creates worlds for people to watch on screens. Large screens, small screens, on the phones, computers, everywhere. And when you think about this is really very interesting because here we all are. We're born, we're growing up, we all have our lives, we all have our friends, our schools, colleges, families, ambitions, goals. Suddenly we get bitten by this bug that I want to be in the film industry. I want to make films. I want to be an actor. I want to be a director. I want to be a DOP. And then you start fighting to become a member of a world that in many ways is an alternate reality. It's a very real world. Don't get me wrong. It's people with real people, like all of you, real families, real joys, sorrows, heartaches, victories, defeats. We bleed the same as everybody else when we're cut. We rejoice the same when we are victorious. But it is an alternate reality. Because the rules by which the entertainment industry, the world over, functions are slightly removed from the rest of any other kind of industry. So how is it removed? Now when you take a traditional industry, and I'm going to call it a traditional industry, say a manufacturing industry or a knowledge industry, there are certain formats, tangible parameters along which these industries function. You know that you go to an educational institution, you get a certain degree that empowers you or that tells you you're now qualified to go and perform a certain function in a particular line of work, in a company, and this is your designation. Then you work, and you know if you're going to run a company, that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you want to set up a company manufacturing pipes. You have technology, you have capital infrastructure, you have to get HR in place, you have to have knowledge tie-ups perhaps, you have manufacturing issues, labor union issues, so many things. These are all traditional parameters along which industries are run. Film industry is not quite the same. Yes, we have HR, as in we have these teams of people, talent who come in right from production boy levels right up to your director, producer level, and every other rung in between. We are all putting a lot of work in using tangible technology and equipment to create a product which is then sold across a distribution network called theaters and screens. What is the difference here? The difference here is the tools that we use, the technology, the cameras, the sets, the machinery, the equipment, these are merely tools. They are hardly ever the basis on which our industry is built. They are hardly ever the basis on which our product is created and developed. Our product almost entirely begins and ends here. There have been many a times, I have seen many projects go from sitting around a table and say, hey guys, you know what, I think this line would make a perfect story. It'll make a great movie. And say, you know, what if we had a story about a guy who came here and did this and did that and then this happened. From there, I have seen simple ideas like that develop into multi-crore films that have reached millions of people in audiences. And it all began with a thought. There is no other line of work, there is no other state of existence that so completely defines who you are and how you be as the film industry. And I'm saying film industry to mean any creative media industry, anything that is creative, anything that is fiction-oriented, because it entirely depends on your state of mind. And the beauty of being in an industry like this, and the beauty of aiming to be in this line of work, is that somewhere you're allowing yourself permission to be many different kinds of people. And that is the most liberating part about creative work. It can be a film industry, it can be writing, it can be painting, it can be performing, but it's most beautifully encapsulated by my industry, the film industry. You can write a story, you can create a character, you can develop an entire life, and then you can be that person. And trust me, it's not just an actor who can be another person. It starts with the writer, then the director, then the producer who believes in it, then the actors, every technician who puts in their part of being to say that this is what I will do to help this character be on that screen. And when you, as an audience, go and watch that film, you are drawn into that state of being. You find points to identify with. You find points and say, hey, that's what I'm going through, or that's what I went through, or no, that's where I want to be. That's who I want to be. So we find many aspects of ourselves, whether we create cinema or whether we're watching cinema. The key to learning from cinema, not technology, not about the world, it's not about tourism, it's not about pretty images. It's far more than that. The license to be yourself in all yourselves. There are very few people who are just one person. There are very few people who has just one nature. You know, you can define them as just this person. All of us have so many faces. I will bet you anything that who you are here is going to be very different from who you are at home, different from who you are when you're with your friends, different when you're driving on the road in peak rush hour traffic. That's all different people. It might be different faces of the same person, but it's still different. And it's when we learn to accept all those different faces of ourselves, when we allow ourselves to be in all our different perspectives, is when we start stitching together all this fragmented existence that we have. A lot of us are exhausted nowadays. I would be delighted if anyone here stood up and said, no, I'm fine, I've got it all together. Do I have anyone saying that? I'm really delighted. And I really have to talk to you and I have to interview you for my channel. You know? Are you married? Nope. There you go. There you go. I knew there had to be a reason. No, but jokes apart, it takes a great deal to hold all these different sides of yourself together. For some, it's more effortless than the others, but it does take an effort. Where cinema can really help you make that journey is when you, as a member of the audience, are watching a film, well-made film, not so well-made film, one that you relate with, one you have no idea what it's about. It's still a window for you into another world. It's still a window for you into many characters. And even if it's a James Bond or if it's a Mission Impossible, you know, even if it's a super larger than life character who's entirely fantasy, there's still some part of us that says, man, that's so cool. So hold on to that cool factor. Because you don't have to go out and either save the world or blow up the world to be cool. We can all be cool in our own lives every day. So use cinema to help you become more of what you want to be. more of who you need to be. How many of you have thought of cinema as a tool? Not just a form of entertainment. That's great. A tool like the way I'm saying?
Not like entertainment, just like.
Yeah, because it helps you reflect. It gives you an insight into so many different mindsets. Because every film, even if it starts with one storyline by one writer or one director's vision, at the end of the day, it is an amalgamation of 150 people working on that one film. It's the most fascinating example, true living example of a perfect amalgamation of different states of being. I think it's a great thing if we can take that lesson and apply it to life in whatever we do. Can you imagine the kind of life we'd have? Every one of us. We can be all the different us that we want. I can be soft and sentimental and feel great about it. I can go out and be aggressive and angry and not beat myself up over it because I know at that time it was right. I can go and I can be kind to someone. I can put my foot down and say no more. Or I can say this is my goal and no matter what I'm going to go for it. There need not be any guilt in being who you are. And guilt is a major factor that's driving us as a race today. Whether it's guilt towards an external source, whether it's guilt towards responsibilities we think that we have not fulfilled, or whether it's guilt thinking, oh my God, I'm running out of time. I had all these goals when I was in school or when I was in college, and now my clock is ticking, I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 50, and I haven't done half of that. You feel guilty, you feel really guilty that you're letting time go. I do it, it happens to me so much. There are so many times when I'm turning off the lights at the end of the day, and I stop for a moment and I think, what have you done today? When you woke up this morning, you had a list of things that you know had to be done, and you had all the energy, and you said, I'm going to do this, then this, then this, and I'm going to get all of these things together, and this squared away, and by the end of the day, I'm going to be set with all this. What have you done at the end of the day? Of course, at that time, I'm not inclined to be kind to myself, saying, you know what, this happened, and I did my best with this, but unexpectedly there was a problem. No, I'm not inclined to forgive myself for that. So I'm unhappy with the way that I've been. But if I give room to myself to be who I am, and to say, for now, what I've done is the right thing, it's enough. I'm going to go ahead from here. I'm going to learn from what I've been through now. And tomorrow, I'm going to do more, and I'm going to do it better, and I'm going to do it differently. So that comes to the state of being that evolves. When I entered the film industry, I was like 16, 17. I'm 48 now. That's a good amount of time that I've spent in this industry. Good number of films that I've done. I haven't ever counted, but friends tell me I've done over 125 films. And I did most of those films within the first 8 years of my career. Because then after that I said, I need to breathe. I need to see what the rest of my life is like. I need to see what the world has other than this blinkered approach to my work. Because once I start working, I can't think of anything else. I can be the most beautiful cities in the world, and all I will see will be that frame that my director has set. So I started figuring out how to live my life when I was in my late 20s, when I was like 27, 28. I had my daughter when I was 30. It's been a roller coaster. Every challenge that I faced in life has shown me a different perspective of me, a different aspect of me. I'm very self-involved in that sense, because for me, life is about what am I doing? What is my reaction? How can I be doing this better? Should I be doing it differently to get where I need to go faster? How can I be more effective? How can I be more inclusive? So yeah, my thinking is constantly about me. But that's what's right. Because when I think about me, when I define who I am able to define who I can be for the person next to me. I am able to define what I need to be for the world around me. It's all different stages of being. It's all different stages of evolution in who you are. State of being cannot be absolute. A state of being will have meaning only when it evolves. It has to grow forward and grow upward. A state of being has to evolve, allowing you the kindness and the latitude to try and be different kinds of people that you are inside. It's okay if you think that you're heading for any kind of a multiple personality disorders at times. When you have that awareness in your mind, you'll stitch yourself back together. It's tremendously liberating to understand it's okay for me to be this way, it's also okay for me to be this way. And all of it together is still me. All of you are here to listen to people talking about different stages of being, different perspectives of being. You've all gone through a certain part of life, certain experiences, certain growth. You're headed for the next. You have great applications that you can test your knowledge on, whatever you've learned here. But you will find, you will be able to take that next step, go to the next level personally when you marry it to your sense of self. What I'm saying might sound a little strange. As in, I'm sure there are people who are going to be listening and saying, what is she talking about? Of course, if it's my life and I'm thinking this, it is about myself. No. Very often there is a sense of disassociation, especially in today's world that we're feeling. And a great way to stitch all those different aspects of ourselves together, to focus ourselves, to allow ourselves the liberty to be all the different people that we can be, all the different faces that are there within us, is a good old-fashioned movie. Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And enjoy all the states of being that you can be.